Well, it's a really interesting question, that one. At the moment, I do a combination of politics, and in relation to politics, I've got a role now directly liaising with the leader on all the major projects that Essex is engaged in, particularly the infrastructure ones. And then I remain a lawyer. You can take the girl out of the law, but you can't take the law out of the girl. And so I still, from time to time, either teach the law or get involved with the law, occasionally acting for clients, but never in the place that I'm a counsellor, of course. It's extraordinary when you look back on a long career. I'm not sure I want to go into quite how long a career mine's been, but it is quite surprising to think. I started out with a father who didn't believe that anybody would pay any attention to women on anything to do with money, and thought therefore that it would have to be the law or medicine as a career. I had lots of things I'd have liked to have done. I would have liked to have been a speech therapist, but it was something that you couldn't do without some form of backup money, and we did not have any money, so whatever I did, I was going to have to earn my living. And I managed, I think, to blag my way into one of the London city firms of lawyers, and got myself a training contract there, and then really sort of got taken on board because the firm had a really good card index system, and that told them I'd done planning law when I'd been at university. And they said, oh, we've got a planning matter now, we'll give it to her. And for about a decade I did planning law before then, as so often when the markets changed, I turned myself into a valuation lawyer. And then I hit the sort of barrier that women, I think, often do hit. I had a child who was seriously ill, and I had to change the way I was operating altogether. In turn, I still needed to earn my living, but I needed to spend time with him. And I then discovered there was this extraordinary world going on around and about behind me, which was something I really had not reflected on travelling in and out to London. So I got myself into residents' associations, and of course then into politics. And that's why I find myself here at Essex County Council. I think it's really important to find the skills that you actually have, the jobs that you really love doing because they just suit you. If you're able to do that, then I think you can always treat that as the centre of a spider's web, and you can then sort of spread yourself around into different areas. And I always come back to my core skills, in the law, and maybe one or two skills I've picked up in relation to politics. Almost anything that you do makes you better at the other things that you do. And so I think a lot of people go into politics in the hope that they can give something back, and almost all of them will tell you that they've had so much more back from politics than they feel they can put in. And in my case, you sort of think, I still think it's a really good thing to have done something in relation to local politics, to understand how your community works, but also to learn so much more about yourself and about what you can do, just by ringing a doorbell and asking people to vote for you. I think it would be reducing embedded inflation. That's what I do. I spent a decade working as an in-house lawyer with a company where the senior person in the company was in his 80s, and inflation was the one thing that terrified him, and he was absolutely determined that the organisation would be protected from inflation. I think it's an absolutely invidious thing. It's really difficult to get shot of because it gets stuck, and then everybody tries to catch up with it, and you can't do that because you've got to try and iron it out of the system. So at the moment, that would be my wish for everybody. I think my real concerns are around people being able to manage in circumstances where things that were formerly at a much lower cost have jumped very significantly. And I think it's all about how long you've got to adapt. And I think COVID was the same. These are all challenges that have been thrown at us really at very short notice and without a lot of time to adapt. Given time, everyone can manage to adapt. I speak as someone who had real difficulties at one point in not just with my son's health, but in relation to a business that my husband was involved with. And once you've seen that, you realise that you are going to have to be able to adapt yourself to circumstances, but also to change your approach to risk, which is another thing. And you can do that if you've got some time, but the things that come at you too fast to handle are the ones that really worry me, because they make people's lives so much more miserable and stressful, and they're damaging to people's mental health. And you know, they do say, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but I think that's the thing that I find upsetting about where we are now. Which is quite a good segue actually into Ambitious Women in Essex, which has been one of my pride and joys to be involved with. And I think it's because its focus really is on resilience. It's on how to succeed, but also how to succeed on your own terms, how to do it in your own way, how to do it in a way which you can then transfer skills if something happens, and how to take advantage of opportunities when they come along rather than be fazed by them. I think that's a big thing that this achieves. I think the main thing for me has been just meeting so many different interesting women. And it reminds me that this is something that actually men get a lot of their working lives. They will see a lot of successful men in a group. I think what this does, what Ambitious Women in Essex does, is to enable you to see an awful lot of successful women in one group, a lot of women who've been through the same things that you have, a lot of women who are brilliant at sharing the tips, the techniques, and also incredibly generous with their stories. My advice would be to grab any opportunity when it comes your way. And I think opportunities are a bit like buses. You know, you if you jump on them, you can always get off again, but they may not come round again for some time, particularly not in the great joys that we had with COVID. But I think if you grab opportunities, try them and see, and then move on to other things. It's back to that point about transferable skills. And I know that quite a lot of the time, the circumstances you can find yourself in will not allow you easily to do that. But whenever I did, I found that I was able to move forward much quicker, not necessarily in the opportunity I jumped towards, but in relation to something else. I think it may, to some extent, be the act of reaching for an opportunity that changes the dynamic of your life. But before I shout out for a woman for as part of this video, I do just want to say that it would be easier to find one I might not choose to shout out for than anything else, because I just think, you know, there are so many. But the one that immediately occurs is Rachel Richards, who runs Uniform 7. Up in Clacton and Tendring, and she started her business and had her first child, and her first child had learning challenges, and she has managed that and the business, and now takes on employees who are similarly challenged, and she makes uniforms which are, among other things, designed for people with disabilities of many kinds, so that this isn't about taking a uniform for somebody else and then adapting it. It is built for you. I think what she has done is little short of sensational, and I absolutely will always shout out for her. One of the things that I would like always to add is the astonishing team at Essex County Council who work on this, in particular Eve, but there are a lot of other people working with her, I know, and also all those people in the venues who give of their time and their enthusiasm so generously, and all of the people who come and who are just so charismatic. I think the energy that you get in a room that has an ambitious Women in Essex event going on at it is something to behold, and I think we should make sure that everybody does behold it.